this fall. Jeff and I are supposed to talk about the legislative session. So of course he wants me to talk about the budget. And then he's going to tell you about all the good things. Well, as I had said to you before, I waited 16 years to be the Ways and Means Chair in the House. And I worked very hard to figure out what it is you're supposed to do to be able to include all of our elected officials at the legislative level into making decisions about a budget. Now, usually it's been making decisions about where should we spend this extra money we have. See, I thought that's what I got to do. I thought, oh good, I get to be Ways and Means Chair. I love Whatcom County. Let's see if we can do some really good things here and statewide. I became the Ways and Means Chair and thought we had a $5.7 billion shortfall. By the time we voted on our budget in April, we had a $9.3 billion shortfall. We lost $1 billion every month from when the governor wrote her budget until we wrote ours. We did our very, very best to try to say we're going to protect the things that are protected by the Constitution first, so that's K-12 education, basic ed, our debt service, our pension contributions. We're going to have to protect the things that the federal government expects us to do, so we get our federal money, because we don't want to leave any federal money on the table. And then we had state laws that said, and for another big part of the budget, you have to follow the law and fund the things that are the laws that we passed. We voted to change quite a few laws this year so that we did not have to spend all the money that we spent before. We have a smaller budget in real dollars than we had 2 years ago, and we have less people under public employment than we did 2 years ago. And if you listen to our opposition talk, you'd think, boy, those spendthrift Democrats, you know, in Washington State, in Olympia, caused all of this horrible thing to happen. Just remember that we did not do this. We did not do this. We had a president that helped a lot for 8 years, and then we had a worldwide economic downturn that made the difference in our general growth. If we grew at the regular 4.5% that we did every biennium, we would have almost $11 billion more in the bank now than we do. But we didn't grow, and that's the money that we had to cut. So just know that when we enter this session, facing another $2.6 billion shortfall, that we've probably used all the federal money. We might get $600 million in money for some of our social service programs. We hope we do. We are not going to get any of the new education money this year because of the way that we have decided to deliver education in Washington State. So that's a disappointment. But and last year we were able to do this, which we thought was maybe one time, without raising taxes. Okay, now for the bad news. Here's the bad news. We are going to have to make cuts this year, and in addition to making cuts, we are going to have to raise revenues. And it's really hard to raise revenues in a time when people are losing their jobs, when their salaries are going down, when services are going up, and expect people to pay more. But we're going to have to say, we need help from everybody to make sure that we don't completely destroy our basic education program and our social safety net for the people that need our help. I mean, if we can't do that for people, then we're not doing a very good job. But we're going to expect more of everybody. Everybody's going to have to do a little bit more. And we are going to need our local Democratic Party and Democrats across the state to be our ambassadors to your friends and to your neighbors. We will get you the information, and you'll basically hear it next Thursday or December 9th when the governor presents her all cuts budget. And you're gonna look at that all cuts budget and you're gonna say, boy, as Democrats, this does not meet the principles and the values that I hold dear. And you know what? The governor's gonna say the same thing. Because she knows that constitutionally she has to tell you what an all cuts budget would look like, and she's gonna hate to do it. And we're all gonna hate to see it. And so we're gonna work very hard to figure out how we can plug that hole. We figured we could probably raise about $800 million in revenues, but that doesn't make up for the hole that we have. And we're gonna really have to get down and prioritize what state government absolutely has to do that nobody else should be doing, and we have to do that well. So, I want to tell you something good too. We are protecting basic education, and that's a good thing. We are protecting our Apple Health program for children. We are going to add back the federal money that we did not get for Planned Parenthood. We were hoping they'd come through, but they didn't. And we're looking at helping our local small businesses with the community efforts we have so that they can keep the employees that they have, that they might be able to expand, because 95% of the businesses, and I might not be saying enough, are our local small businesses. And I've been working really hard with the new Director of Commerce to say, if we have to cut things, let's cut them to the big guys. Let's not cut them to the little guys. Just remember, it's a 60-day session. So what we talk about the first day of session may not look like what we vote on in March. Make sure if you have questions about what we're doing, and we'll share as much information with you as we can, that you ask us. Because Jeff and I both want to make sure that people in our community understand they're going to be tough choices. They're going to be tough choices that I don't like, and they're going to be tough choices that you don't like. I already know that. And we're going to go into a very tough election cycle. I've got my fingers crossed it's not as bad as '94, because that was not a good year. But there is a mood, and the mood has a lot to do with what's happening federally, and in this case, what's happening with our jobless rate, as it does with anything that Jeff or I might do in Olympia. So for anybody who also wants to run for office, Tim said he lost the first time. Well, I lost the first time. Then I won the second time. Then I lost the third time. So, you can come back. You just have to be persistent. And I think that's what we're going to do on the budget this year. We had 37 people in our caucus involved in writing the budget last year. Normally, it's 3. So I didn't think that I had all the answers. I didn't. And we let almost anybody who wanted to be part of our solution. So we're going to do that again. We love any ideas you have. We're going to have to prioritize. And as I said, it's not going to be pretty. And but as Lori said, you can't just look to the next election. You have to do what's right. And we're going to do, again, I hope, what's right for the people of Washington. So.